Hey, welcome, all my right thinkers. Thanks for tuning in. Check out your boy, P Funk, thinking right out here in my lab in the wee hours of the morning. It's 2:50. Let's go. I woke up early. I got some stuff to get off my chest. I got a lesson here I want to get in. It's all about defining the words and get the definition to help you increase your self-knowledge. Let's go. I got five more for you. These ought to be good. Let's rock. Right isms. 25 rules to live by. Storytelling. Story with a message. There's always a message in my stories for life. I give life lessons. You tune in to receive them. I appreciate you. We got a good thing going. Let's do what we do. Right thinking mission is to enlighten, inspire, educate, and motivate you, the individual, to a higher spiritual level of enlightenment. Right thinking's way of life through mental and spiritual discipline, practice daily will help and guide you to attain your goal of reaching spiritual enlightenment, aka know thyself. My mission is that all right thinkers know thyself. If you're a right thinker, your goal is to know thyself. See where we're going with this? Let's get it together. So I asked the question, do you know you? When I'm through, yeah, that's what I do for you. It's rhetorical, but if you don't have an answer for yourself, tune in. I got you. A person who knows not and knows not that they know not is foolish. Disregard them. Don't be them. A person who knows not and knows that they know not is simple, but you can teach them. That's why I do what I do for you. I appreciate you too. Stay tuned. I got more for you. A person who knows not and believe and think that they know is dangerous, avoid them. I do. A person who knows and knows not that they know is spiritually asleep. I can awaken them. I'm the spiritual alarm clock here to wake you up with knowledge of self. That's what I do for you. A person who knows and knows that they know is wise. Follow them. All these persons reside in you. Right thinkers know that self. Add to my be true. All right, right thing I got P Funk's philosophy on. I got five more definition words that you need to know on your spiritual path to immortality, aka know myself. All right, we're gonna start with mysticism. We just got finished talking about religion, and it's broken down. I like the way it's breaking down because I went from yoga, to religion, to mysticism. Mysticism is that spiritual discipline that you need to master for attaining, listen, union with the divine. How do I gain union with the divine? Good question. Through daily practice of what? Deep meditation. Not prayer, meditation. I tell you, and contemplating. Meaning you're spending time quietly alone by yourself in your own mind. And if your pineal gland is open, your third eye, then you can communicate and download information from God Himself. Mm-hmm. You talking about Willis? Yeah, that's the concept of mysticism. Because even in religion, if y'all practice the myth, learn the story, practice the ritual, go to church and do the things you need to do, follow the tenets, and on the third level, something magical will happen. The mysticism, the Kundalini serpent would arrive when you're living right. I got mine by just living right. I wasn't knowing, I wasn't expecting, but when it happened, man, life changing. But that's the mysticism. It only happens inside you. The mystery is to everybody else. This should not be a mystery to you. You should know you. That's the name of the game. And when you do contemplate and daily meditation and follow your spiritual disciplines, again, practice what you're learning. Practice it, such as austerity, doing best with the less, detachment, separate yourself from physical and material things, renunciation, take back the negative aspect of yourself and put yourself in a position to do the right thing. It's a few other things, etc. But in this aspect, when you practice these things, when you put them to use for yourself, in this aspect, mysticism and yoga and even religions are all synonymous. Why? They all to get you to do right, be right, and benefit from what? Doing the right thing. You will be rewarded. Called blessings, okay? Some people call them miracles, whatever. But God recognizes those who recognize Him. You magnify Him in your life, He magnify you in the things that you want, aka blessings. Now, here's a good one. When you see me do this, represents Mayat. Mayat represents duality. God is singular. Everything that after Him Every god and goddess idea comes in pairs, opposites. That's what Maya represents. So they call it dualism. We got a dual brain, a left and a right hemisphere. We got two brains, okay? We got dual individual spirit inside matter, okay? Human beings, we're spirit beings having human. So dualism means two opposites come together. Let me see if I can break it down for you. And a lot of people don't understand this, so let me see if I can make it clear. Dualism, aka egoism. Why? Because the ego makes decisions whether they like it or don't like it. We think like that. That's how the brain works. But similar to deism, dualism is the belief that all things in nature are separate and real, and that they exist independently from any underlying essence or support. It is the belief in the pairs of opposites. Now, philosophically, I understand that's what Mayat represents, okay, and a whole bunch of other things. But opposites, in order to make something whole, you need opposites. So wherein everything has a what? A polar counterpart. Good opposite of what? Example, male opposite of what? Female. In order for you to procreate, you need a male and a female to come together. They can create life. I keep explaining to y'all, trying to get, God don't condone male on male or women on women to procreate. Why? He didn't make it that way. He made it that a man and woman got to get together and make it happen. Man and man ain't gonna make nothing happen. Woman and woman ain't gonna make nothing happen. Get that point. But it'll tell you opposites. Dualism is based on opposites, not the same. Just want to get that point across. So, male, female, here, gotta have a there. If it's hot, opposite of hot is cold, etc. See where we're going with that? Again, opposites. Not the same, opposites. While these elements seem real and abiding to the human mind, which is us, how we think and how we see things, the mystical philosophers throughout history have been claiming that this is only an outer expression of the underlying essence from which they originate. We are spirit beings having a human. Human is outer. Spirit is inner. See where we're going with this? So stay with me. The underlying essence of all things is non-dual. Everything comes from the one. After that, everything is dual. That's what God represents. Whatever name you call him by, whoever, I don't give craps about that. But again, all things, the underlying essence of all things is non-dual. That's God, the one, the all-encompassing, the absolute, the all. We got a bunch of names for him, but they're all the attributes to represent the same thing for the same person, one person, God. But it is the substratum of all that exists. Hello? Modern science has been confirming these views of matter, physical, okay? The latest experiments in the quantum physics will show that all matter is composed of energy. Energy, frequency, and vibration. Energy and matter, humans. Most importantly, for this study, dualism is a state of mind that occurs at the immature level, meaning ignorance, of mental understanding of reality. Well, I believe this, I thought that. If you didn't know, how could you conceptualize something that you don't know? That drives me crazy. If I don't know, I don't know. I'm not going to try to make it up. I'm not trying to figure. No, I go get information. I ain't got to make it up. Google it or get information from somebody who knows. Google knows everything from according to y'all. But it is akin to what? Egoism. Egoism ain't looking for outside. No, it's going to run itself. It ain't going to look for no outside help. Okay? And egoistic tendencies, serve yourself, do you, which will tend to make a person, listen, see him or her. So the ego ain't just a male thing. It's him or herself as being separate and distinct from the world. Me, I. Okay, that's individualism. And from other living beings. Ignorance. Ignorance, more ignorance. but through the study and the practice of the mystical, aka spiritual teachings and disciplines of dualism, is now replaced with non-dualism, because you have a God concept, you have understanding of the one, and salvation is being taken care of by the individual. Why? With spiritual enlightenment, then will occur. Therefore, your salvation or your spiritual resurrection, waking up, becoming conscious of oneself, is related to still what? The non-dualistic view of existence, the one. And bondage and death are related to dualism and egoism, aka ignorance. You got ignorance, you got enlightenment. That's dualism. Again, it's still going to be opposite. Which one are you going to deal? A dualistic view of life can lead one to agitation. Okay, that's the ignorant part. What's this? Suffering, and even a catastrophic events in their human experience, meaning life is going way bad due to their own destruction, because the mind is trained to see either good or evil. It's acceptable or unacceptable. That's the dual thinking. We have two hemispheres, left and right. Right emotion, left logic and reason. Right female, left male. Again, it's dual, opposites, but they got to come together to make a whole. So if you're thinking from the female aspect, using the right hemisphere of your brain, you're doing yourself a disservice, because you're not putting logic and reason, which is the left side brain. That's its job. You put them together. You think in equanimity. That way you can make better decisions. Knowing right from wrong and just knowing one thing, you don't know both. You can know both. Dualism means there's two things. Once you understand that, once you get proficient, now your decision making, knowing right from wrong, puts you in a better position to what? Make better decisions. If you choose to do wrong, that's my choice. Been there, done that too. But when you get better, you'll get better at making those decisions. So watch this. It says here, acceptable, unacceptable, you or me, etc. Still, everything is dual. And not the whole of creation is composed of many parts. In the dualistic state of mind, the attitude of separation and exclusionism and are exaggerated. I mean, everything is either this or that. Yeah, but no, okay? Again, balance, understanding. But these render the mind agitated. Why? It can't make a decision. I was at the ice cream store yesterday. 100-something damn ice cream flavor. Kids go in there and lose their mind. I just eat butter pecan. I don't give a damn how many they got to cook. No, I was in Rita. This one of my spots. Rita. But still, too many flavors to pick from. And when you got too many to select from, it's hard to make a decision. When you break it down, simplify it, now you can understand, I like this, I like that. Okay, I'll take that. I don't like that. Okay, so I ain't gonna get that. Knowing the difference, I know people who tell you this or that. Okay, now you know that. What you gonna do? Make a decision. Knowing it, okay, but you got to make a decision. And that's called mental agitation. When the mind ain't focused and it can't do things, it prevents the mind from achieving greater insights into the depths of its spiritual teachings that it's trying to learn. If you are attention deficit, short attention, don't pay attention, it's going to be hard for you. Why? You got to pay attention. You got to learn. You got to listen and make the adjustments. Thus, all the agitated people are usually what? Just mentally frustrated. Why? Because they're unable to make decisions or discover the inner peace within the spiritual fulfillment that they can't seem to grasp, because they're still doing the stuff they don't need to be doing. They can't grasp the concept. That's why. And they fail at what? Bettering themselves. They got to keep, because I fell short, I got weak. If your spiritual discipline or your self-discipline is not up to snuff, you're going to have problems. And when we have a societal institutions, such as churches, the house where you're supposed to go to get, your house of God, But when you got such churches who rationalize and even sanction dualism, even the gay marriages, all that nonsense, that's egoistic sentiments. and held sway over the heart of human beings. I don't have to worry about being married to another man. I ain't trying to be in love with another man. So those things are just an abomination in the sight of God within yourself. No, not the God in the heaven looking down. Oh, I see you know. Within you, you should know better than that. Within yourself. Sorry, but let's move on. All right. But in this sense, now dualism turns into egoism. Me, I, you over there. Me, I against you. I gotta compete. I gotta beat you. I gotta do that. That was that guy. Jeez. And dualism and egoism, they go hand in hand. And when your universal love and your humility are replaced with egoism, that's the choice. You can show love or you can be egoistic. And egoism and arrogantness, all you egotistic people who got degrees and position, y'all are the worst. Why? Y'all, moving on. But then it becomes possible for those kind of people with that mindset to what? To hurt others, start wars, kill. It's in their nature to do whatever they need to do what? To protect themselves. They think, they feel that way. And when we forget our common origin, right there, and our destiny as human beings, live, fruitfully multiply, treat people the way you want. Y'all got it all laid out. I got the 42 confession, my negative confession, my I don't do this, I won't do that. Okay, I hold myself accountable. But your destiny is to what? Go back home, to be one with God. And if you're not enlightening yourself through doing the things you're supposed to do, I got that the last one. But these are things that you have to do. We easily fall into the vast pit of egoism and get caught up in me. I keep pointing back because that's my man. We see ourselves as what? Individuals. I, me. In the world of what? More individuals. So the competition. Now, you got to outthink the next one. And my thing on the street was, I was smart. I could think. I ain't dumb. So yeah. And you have to what? Fight battles to survive, for wealth, in order to gain pleasures of the senses, the physical body. Now, rather than seeing yourself as a divine spiritual being having a human experience that you have to live through and do what you need to do, who are made in the same image as who? With the same frailties and potential. You got good or bad potential on you. This degraded condition, egoistic mind, opens the doors to a deep-rooted what? Fear, false evidence appearing real. Now, and your senses of inadequacy. You don't feel like you're good enough. That's the mindset that they get you stuck in with religion, which would translate into what? You get angry quick. You have resentment. You show hatred. You have greed. And all negative tendencies will surface in your human personality. You will just do those things. And they all bad. But you're doing them. So the consequences for that, yeah, you got to pay. But the concept of dualism is the basis of the atrocities and the injustices that have been committed in the history of this world, and all of it's under its control of human beings who are what? Seek to control other human beings and nature. Western civilization, I say the white man, he the only human that fights nature, compete with nature. Everybody else live with nature, coincide with nature. No, he's going to defeat nature. So he wants to live forever. He wants to do everything that nature says not. Okay? And to what? Satisfy his own inner urges through what? Mostly violence, because they cannot control themselves. That's why we're at war right now. Ego. And to express their deeper needs in a constructive manner, they won't do that. An ignorant person will not become intellectual, or they will not become constructive. They will be destructive all the time, even self-destructive. But in constructive ways, for in the Indian Vedanta philosophy tradition, duality, or what they call it, the Vyate, is seen as the greatest error of the human mind. Why? To think of itself as one, first of all, and for this reason, all of the spiritual disciplines of the Vedanta, Shitanetta, Yoga, Buddhism, Taoism, these are all philosophical concepts, and other forms of creation centered spirituality are all directed in developing a correct and right thinking and full understanding of the human existence, meaning knowing who I am. Knowing thyself was the goal for all humans. Okay? We ain't doing too well. A lot of us still keep coming back. Why? We ain't learn our lesson. This is school. Okay? Human beings is life is school. But when the underlying unity behind the duality is discovered, ding, 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 there now can be no violence or ill will against others. Why? Because this is the basis of what we call non-violence and harmony, and spiritual enlightenment then arise spontaneously, and egoism now will give way to the universal love and peace. I told you, the ego don't need to be killed, just need to be conquered, and he need to acquiesce. You got to put the work in to do that. He ain't going down without a fight. That's the difference. Some people just say, well, I ain't fighting. Just give in. And if you liking the things you're getting because of the ego stuff, some people like it until it's time to pay up. Okay? Ooh, this is a good one. Spiritual transformation. Be a spiritual alchemist. Change your spiritual outlook from being ignorant spiritually to being spiritually enlightened. That's the ticket to kill the ignorant part of your body being in control. Once you get spiritually enlightened, the ego will work for you. He will protect you. He will defend you to the end. When everybody's in the boat with Ra in the underworld dealing with the prophets, everybody else freaks out. The only one still fighting is your ego. Okay? He ain't giving up. He's a honey badger. Okay? So let's talk about that. It's a short one. Spiritual transformation. Transformation, first of all, here is to be understood as not merely a change in specific behavior patterns or just a change in your feeling based on a temporary circumstances. You feel good about something, so you gravitate to it until I get tired of that. Okay. But it is as a complete reorientation of your psychology. You're thinking right. You used to think wrong. When you're ignorant, you're wrong thinking. When you start to learn and comprehend and get better, that's right thinking. That's the purpose of the brain, to do just that. Now it's functioning at its best. Watch this. And reorientation of your psychology, thinking right, of the individual. You have to do that. You are in control of what you think, how you think, and why you think. This reorientation, waking up, becoming conscious, will lead you to a permanent improvement. It ain't temporary, it's forever in your what? Behavior, and it is a genuine metamorphosis of what? Your innermost levels of your mind. Specifically, you will focus on the Hermeticism as the system for what? Psychological and spiritual transformation, wherein you, the individual, cease to be a limited human individual. Now you rise in your consciousness above the ego, and now you're not subjected to the what? The fables and the follies of human beings who are ignorant of nature. And now you attain what we call a state of transcendence of these failings. You've risen above your frailties. You've gotten better at being yourself, your lower nature. You're raising above. You become empathetic. You become compassionate for others. You speak the truth, Makadu, and your spiritual third eye is open. You know thyself, and you will be crowned. The seventh chakra is the crowning of you doing all those things. And now what makes you complete? Let's talk about mythology right quick. Mythology, ooh, I like this one. Most people hold the opinion the Bible is a mythological book, not literal. That's one problem. So let's get with mythology first. That's my bad. Most people hold the opinion that mythology is a lie. No. An illusion, fiction, or fantasy. Again, ignorant concepts, not knowing and grasping the concept of mythology. Mythology can be best understood as a language. However, it is a unique kind of language. Why? Because an ordinary language is sometimes similar to another because it is part of the family of languages. For example, Italian and Spanish words are similar. I don't speak neither one, so I wouldn't know that, okay? But this similarity makes it possible for what a person whose native language is Spanish to somewhat understand the meaning of some Italian words and somewhat follow along a conversation in Italian. Neither one, I couldn't do neither. I'd be sitting there like a bump in the law while I ain't understanding none of that. Even so, mythology, watch this, is much more intelligible than this. Why? Because the mythology is more akin to music. I mean, it's generally for everybody, and it's universality. I like that. But if the key element of this language of mythology are well understood, and when it's well understood, then it is now possible for you to understand and be able to relate any mythological story or system to another, and thereby you can now gain a better understanding of the mythological message that's being imparted. Rather, man, that's a bunch of bullcrap. Okay? Understand that. It's a purpose, and it's like a language of what? Knowledge, for understanding. We tell you stories to get the plot, the meaning of the story. Now you can learn from the story. Never mind. Do the people exist? No, mythology is just a story that's going to get you to learn. Now, let's go with the last one. Closing it out. Perfect. Enlightenment. My favorite. That means to learn. That means to learn. Spiritual enlightenment. God is spirit. I give you spiritual knowledge. That's God knowledge. And mythological story. Nope. My real life story. I use my life experiences to make my point, to teach my lessons for enlightenment. Let's go. Enlightenment is the central topic of our study and the coveted goal of all who practice this, of right thinking, philosophy, yoga, or religion, all practicing to do the same thing, to obtain enlightenment. Is the term that we use to describe the highest level of spiritual awakening, knowing thyself. It means that you have attained such a level of spiritual awareness by studying, learning, and practicing and living that you now discover the underlying unity of what? The entire universe, as well as the fact that the source of all creation is the same source that's in you, from which your innermost self within every human heart arises. You have to become conscious of that. That's why he gave us the brain to do just that. And we have lessons that will teach, inspire, to educate you to do just that for yourself. All I can do is instruct and give the information. You got to put the work in. All forms, not some, all forms of spiritual practice, religion, anything you call it, are directed toward the same goal, and that is assisting every individual who practices it to discover their true essence of the universe, both outside and inside. That means the physical creation and the eternal spiritual creation, or with the eternal spirit within our human heart. That's what God is in the heart of man. It just told you right there. It's in the heart of man as the very root of human consciousness. God is two things: spirit and consciousness. As above, so below. As below, so above. You put that together, you find God. That's why it's the search. Why? Because you just got half here, you got half here. They got to become one. That's the marriage. That's the consciousness that will be what? True to heart and knowledge and thought. That's what God is. Spirit and consciousness. Thus, many terms we use, and watch this. This is wrap it up. Perfect timing. Yes. All right. But this term we use to describe the attainment of the ultimate goal of what we know to have spiritual knowledge and the eradication of one's spiritual ignorance. That's the change from ignorance to knowledge. That's the difference. Not knowing yourself to knowing yourself. That's the covenant goal for all human beings, right thinkers especially. These are some of the terms. I'm going to take it home with this one. Some of these terms are enlightenment, spiritual resurrection, salvation, saving oneself, the kingdom of heaven, Christ, consciousness for my Christians, cosmic consciousness for those who are more liberal, moksha for India, or they call it liberation in India, and you got Buddha consciousness, one with the Tao, self-realization, one of my favorites, and this, you know about this, but this one, this is mine. Know thyself. Haruhood was before Christhood, but they're the same thing. It'll make a difference. If you practice Christianity, you're going to get conscious of God by that form. I ain't got a problem with that. You practice Egyptian philosophy, you become conscious of yourself through the Haru philosophy. And you got Nirvana, and you got Sima. That means the union of upper and lower body, Set and Haru coming together. Yoga, etc. And my favorite, the end all be all, right thinkers, is Nihas. That's the supreme good, aka Sun and Bunna, or more favorably known as Know Thyself. That's the lesson, right thinkers. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. My purpose is for you to learn to be your best self and defend and have the definition of words that you know how to use now and the purpose of them. And in closing, may you all live to be 100, me, 100 miles a day. So I'm none of my right thinkers who now understand self-mastery, defining words of the spiritual path to immortality have passed away. And immortals don't pass away. We just go to the next phase. I'll see you there.